Well, serendipity seems to be a bit on my side here because the Catholic Church apparently has decided that a fetus isn't a person. No, I'm not joking. I'm as shocked as you are. So let me get into it. Although there's a reasoning behind it, isn't there always? Catholic hospital urges that that fetuses are not people in malpractice suits. Yeah, boy. Lori Slodge Hill, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, was 31 years old, 7 months pregnant with twin boys, and feeling sick when she arrived at St. Thomas More Hospital in Canyon. I'm sorry, I'm not up on my accent marks. Canyon City. On New Year's Day 2006, she was vomiting and short of breath. Sorry about the rather icky way of doing things, and she passed out as she was being wheeled into the examination room. Medical staff tried to resuscitate her, but, as became clear only later, uh, a main artery feeding her lungs was clogged, and the clog led to a massive heart attack. Hill's obstetricianist, Dr. Pelham Staples, who also happened to be the obstetricianist on call for the emergencies that night, never answered a page. His patient died at the hospital less than an hour after she arrived, and her twins died in her womb. In the aftermath of the tragedy, Stodge Hill's husband, Jeremy, a prison guard, filed a wrongful death lawsuit on behalf of himself and the couple's then 2-year-old daughter Elizabeth. Staples should have made it to the hospital, his lawyers argued, or at least instructed the frantic emergency room staff to perform a cesarean section. The procedure likely would not have saved the mother, a testifying expert said, but it may have saved the twins. The lead defendant in the case, the Catholic Health Initiatives, the Inglewood-based nonprofit that runs St. Thomas More's Hospital, as well as roughly 170 other health facilities in 17 states last year, the hospital chain reported national assets of $15 billion. The organization's mission, according to the promotional literature, is, quote, to nurture the healing ministries of the church and to be guided by, quote, fidelity to the gospel. Towards those ends, Catholic health facilities seek to follow the ethical and religious directives of the Catholic Church authored by the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops. Those rules have stirred controversy for decades, mainly for forbidding non-natural birth control and abortions. See? You thought I was kidding about the contraception, didn't you? Catholic healthcare ministries witnesses to the sanctity of life, quote, form the moment of conception until death, unquote. The directive state, quote, the church's defense of life encompasses the unborn. This goes on and on and on, but they're now trying to make this idea that wrongful death only applies to a person. And so we no longer want to call a fetus a person. In other words, it's a person when it works towards their pro-life goals, when it works towards their slut-shaming goals, when it works towards whatever they can do to demonize the very nature of abortion when it's in the fetal stage. But the moment that it's money, the moment that something is on the line that the Catholic Church seems to hold so dear, then it's not a person. No, we're not going to condone this as a murder. This can't be a wrongful death. I'm sorry. This is disgusting. This is despicable, and this is one of many reasons why I cannot take Catholicism seriously, why I never could take Catholicism seriously, and it's their own asinine rules that they decide to use when it's most convenient to them and decide not to use when it doesn't quite work for them, that just turns me the heck off. And it's mind-boggling. It's hypocritical. It's basically, they say we have an agenda. We're the ones who are the evil people. We're the Satanists who want to kill babies for Satan so that we can turn this from a good Christian land to Satan land, or whatever argument I've heard in the past ad nauseum in repeating, never once considering extenuating circumstances. For them, the world is black and white. Never mind that white light is made of every color, FYI. That the world is black and white, and therefore there can be no exceptions, because exceptions lead to Satan wins. That we care about life until it's not convenient for our cause. Then we'll let people die just because we think it's right, because we think it's moral, because we think it's better than the alternatives that we've created oftentimes in our mind. We see a cluster of cells where these people look at a cluster of cells and they see a full-grown baby nursing on the mother's teat. They can't imagine stopping even the act of conception, because that's all sex is supposed to be about. Never mind the benefits of sex, which I did, I think, a 3-part video on. Never mind the fact that the clitoris has only one purpose on the female body. Oh, right, I forgot. Pleasure is evil and the clit is the devil's button. So to play with it, ladies, or to have guys play with that, why, he's not doing it for conception. He's doing it for his own selfish, greedy needs in the service of Satan, and his act of doing this to please you is evil. Now I think I see why men don't want to eat women out and think that it's almost beneath them to some degree. It's not that it's beneath us, or that it's somehow demeaning or emasculating that we should bow ourselves down in front of them. No, it's that that's an act of satanic ritual. Never mind if she gets hers. As long as I get mine and a baby is born or is conceived and born, then hallelujah. Can you understand now why I say that it's not just society but religion? And I know I sound like I'm overstepping my bounds, but let's think about this logically. Oh, right, forgot. Logic and reasoning are tools of the devil. Well, tough titty. Because you don't get to choose when logic and reasoning works for you, just like you don't get to choose when science works and is valid and when it is not. We wonder about marriages, and no, I'm sorry, Pat Robertson, it's not that some women are hideous, that marriages fall apart. You idiot. It's not that porn is everywhere, or there's these immoral, slutty, non-people, aka sex workers, who are tempting men away from their women, because if none of these things ever existed, God-fearing men would never cheat. Just like how God-fearing men would never molest kids. Hey, I'm just saying, if you're going to go there, I have every right to go there myself as well. We need to realize that sex is healthy, that sex is beneficial, that our bodies, if for the sake of argument is created by a creator, has shown immensely how it needs sexual relations, healthy sexual relations, in order to maintain its balances. Without that balance, you have people who are hurting inside. And then you want to turn around and demonize them and say, oh, you want to have relations with your wife without procreation 3 times a week. Well, let me tell you, dear Johnny, you're a sex addict. You're a dirty, filthy pervert, and you need help. You need psychiatric help because that's not natural. You should want it once, maybe twice a year, maybe once a month if it's a holiday. You can't do it on her period, and on and on and on and on and on and on. Meanwhile, people are suffering. People are hurting. People in marriages are hurting because they cannot even talk about what turns them on. They cannot talk about whether one of them is doing it right and the other is not getting anything out of it. And they can't talk about even expressing it as an expression of love, deep, meaningful, bonding love, without it being considered something that's dirty and worthy of them being shunned. And who's this benefit? Who does this work for? Who does this ultimately give the ultimate amount of benefit to? Your particular deity? Considering the copious amounts of sexual relations, including in some cases incestual relations, inside of all things the Bible, you would think that God would not be so repulsed by the fact that his creations are using their bodies safely, consensually, and without the involvement of children or in the witness of children, and being happy and bonding and becoming closer together instead of growing farther and farther apart because they're afraid of sex. And this is just disgusting. Oh, when money's involved, suddenly a fetus is not a life, but when it's general everyday life, we have to preach from the pulpit or wherever that a fetus is indeed a fully grown, sentient, conscious human being, and to kill even just the cells before they've implanted upon the uterine wall is to commit pre-murder of pre-life, and you should be ashamed of yourself and go to jail. Because you're obviously a deviant. I mean, my gosh, who has sex not for procreation? I'll tell you who. Dirty, evil sluts, that's who.